What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome to the Warframe video. So, there's another Xaku redo thing coming out, and that will be hopefully next week on PC and the next couple of weeks on console. So, let's go over it today. There's some good stuff in here, some things the community have been asking for, some things I've been asking for specifically, and they will make Xaku definitely a lot better. I don't know, honestly, my personal opinion, I think they're going to be done changing Xaku after this one goes out. So most likely what we get after this change is how Xaku will be forever, unless there's a huge outcry of Xaku still is bad. Which, I mean, it probably won't be too phenomenal still, but it will definitely be better. And I'm okay with these changes so far. So let's get into it. Also, make sure you check out that Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Gaz_TTV for Warframe streams a week. Doing some other game streams here and there as well. Alright, so we got the dev post by Danielle. And this came out yesterday. And I streamed and worked yesterday instead of doing this. So, here we go. I'm going to read it verbatim, pretty much. It's been a little over a week since the first round of Xaku changes went live on PC, and soon to come on console. Since we've been keeping tabs on the usual feedback channels to read and review your tales of Xaku in the updated form. We have been pleased to see that generally these changes have been enjoyed thus far, and that we've taken a step in the right direction. But as many have expressed, and to which we have found ourselves agreeing, our work is not done yet on this community Warframe. I agree. The changes, the first round were really good. With the fourth ability, now pausing the ability timers on Xaku, that was a really, really good change. Recastable Grasp of Lohk, great change. Other things like that. Still wish that we didn't need so much power strength on Xaku, but, we'll see how this goes. So here we are, second round of changes based on the most standout and widely discussed points we saw strewn across feedback forums. Here it's iterating on round one, offering a new insight on Xaku's abilities. We thank you for sharing. Note that adjustments may be made between the posting of the workshop and the launch of the listed changes below. So this is not exactly how it might be. Alright, so they've changed the Xaku's description of the loss to actually show it has 3 different abilities. Good. Confusing to keep track of which one's which. Alright, so first off, they're doing another buff to the void damage type in general. So, Zata's Whisper, aka Void Status Effect. Void damage status effect will now redirect projectiles to the body part it was procced on. So how it will work, if you shoot enemy's head with Zata's Whisper enabled, the bubble will redirect the projectiles to the head. If you shoot at the feet, it will be redirected to the feet. It is however possible that even if you proc on the head and then you shoot at the lower part of the bubble, it might hit the body the way the redirection goes. Okay, so, yeah, that is pretty good. That will also apply to operator amps if you're using those in missions. So, basically, if you use Xaku with, the Exorgist, like we showed in the video before, hit them in the head, it's going to be like a little mini mag bubble on their head. Very similar to the Scourge. If you ever use that Gunblade or whatever it's called, or Spear Gun, that's what it's called. Very similar to that. So maybe Zata's Whisper on Harrow could be pretty decent, potentially. Probably not, though. This is a game-wide change to the Void Status Effect. Now that we have a Warframe that can harness Void energy at the click of a button, it has brought much focus and discussion around the status effect itself. For those of you who are unfamiliar, its current state creates a bullet attractor bubble. Okay. Yeah, they're just basically saying that it used to be, if it redirected to, the middle of the enemy, it was pretty bad. So, yeah, that'll be good. Alright, so that doesn't actually matter. The rest of this stuff doesn't matter. Grasp of Lohk. So they're not actually changing the first ability, to be honest, which I find kind of frustrating. I think the first ability is terrible. I usually subsume the first ability off of Xaku. Because, it's not very... You're not actually using your weapons most of the time with Xaku. The Void Guns are the ones actually doing the damage, at least for the playstyle I go for. And I guess, a little bit of Void damage isn't a bad thing, but I think they should make Zata's Whisper Void damage on weapon bonus be his passive, and then maybe make a new one. Maybe put the laser on the one, and then, keep the Lost as a toggle between 2 different abilities, because 3 is a little bit annoying in my opinion. Alright, Grasp of Lohk, the second ability, the gun stealing skill. Recasting will now steal weapons up to the maximum amount of affected targets. So, basically it will let you stack up guns. You steal 5 guns, and your maximum is 10, you steal 5, you're all good to go. You can steal 5 more from the next group of enemies, and you won't lose the guns you already picked up. So I'll just read what they said here. You'll be able to recast up to the maximum targets that you can steal from. In other words, you can add to the current batch of weapons. For example, if you have a maximum set 6, 3, okay. It basically lets you top off your gun amount and will not drop them. We made recasting available in round 1, set up to replace the entire current active batch of weapons. Our original reasoning was that this allowed for a fresh cast to be if an undesirable pull occurred. But what made more sense is the follow-up. Yeah, exactly. So now, yeah, you'll be able to stack them up pretty much. That's great. They also added UI to show how many guns you have equipped, which is less important now, but still a good change for sure. Okay. Instead of manually counting the guns, yeah, I didn't actually do that, but that's a great change right there. Stolen weapons will no longer target invulnerable enemies. That's probably one of the best changes right there. Because a lot of the time with Xaku, you would use the gaze, which would lock an enemy in place, make them invincible, and cause an armor and shield debuff around them. And the guns would just shoot the gaze target for some reason all the time. So now it will no longer target invulnerable enemies. That will make Xaku... That change right there, this one right here, is about to make Xaku actually good. Good-ish. Maybe not good, but good-ish. So that's a great change right there. Note on the Grasp of Lohk target range. So the guns targeting range, they're not going to buff it, because they think that would be too easy in turret mode, pretty much. And make it inactive playstyle. I mean... You can literally AFK macro this game in some situations, so I don't know if that would really change too much, to be honest. It would make things less annoying. You wouldn't have to build for as much range on Xaku. But let's keep going here. Alright, so the Lost Accuse. I think this is the mind control one. Yeah, it's the mind control one. They're going to make it recastable. It's going to be similar to the way... The recastable part of it will be similar to the way that the Grasp of Lohk gun grabbing thing is going to work. So... You basically will be able to mind control targets up to the cap. Sorry about that noise behind me. So if you have 5 active and your max is 10, recast it again to top off your remaining 5 enemies that you mind control. So it's very similar to the Grasp of Lohk changes. And it cannot be recast until the enemies are killed. So you can just recast. All right. And now there's also a UI for how many mind control enemies you have as well, which is great. The Lost Gaze. This is my favorite change of the big bunch they have here today. So, the radius of gaze, the armor debuff skill, is going to be increased at base. So that means whenever you put range on it, I'm going to go to the simulacrum while we're talking about this. However much range you have in your build will make it scale even more. So we go from 8 base to 12 base. And with my build right now, with 235% range, I believe it's like a 15-meter radius. That will be over 20. Most likely, after this change goes through. So that will be really good. That will be a huge increase in range with the radius. Let me see if I can get this going here. Alright. So, yeah, get that window capture out of there. Okay, so I'm in the simulacrum. Got the Corrupted Butcher from a video in the future. So I'm going to just use gaze on him. It's hard to remember which one's gaze. It's actually the one with the little face on it. So with 235% range... That's how far it goes. After the range buff goes through, I'm expecting it to be, like, up to here, honestly. Or maybe even a little bit further with the same exact build. So it'll be a lot better, guys. You can definitely keep an eye on that one being better. And just remember that the Vast on Time will also pause that timer, so you can have that going for a while. So probably the best change right there, and one that's been heavily requested by the community. Alright. So you'll still want to build a bunch of range on Xaku, because range is a very important stat on Xaku. But that will be a little bit better. Just better overall. Increase the denies beam width from 25 to 40. That is very, very thankful. I'm thankful for that. That means basically the void beam's actual width, not the actual radius of the beam. So which one is that? It's this one. That will become wider. Hopefully it's as wide as that Gara's head. So that would be great. Makes it easier to hit stuff with. They're also going to make it where you could cast deny while moving. As of right now, you get locked in place when you are, like, say I'm like running around, I'm like, oh, I want to use the crappy void laser. You have to stop. You're not going to have to stop anymore. That's actually a request that I made on the channel. And I'm sure other people made it as well. But basically, you will not be locked in place anymore while casting gaze. And it might actually be worth using over a weapon in some situations. Definitely not worth using over melee, but yeah, just keep in mind as well. The amount of guns you've stolen also scales that damage up. So it's very, very buffed up at this point. And the Vast Untime has no changes known. And then there's a couple bugs they have to figure out still. But that's basically it for the changes, guys. Overall, really, really good. I still don't consider Xaku a community design frame at all. But you know, like, this is what we got. Yeah, it's not great, but it's better than it was at launch for sure. The Vast Untime pausing your ability timers is definitely the best change they've made so far. And some other things I would want for Xaku is honestly, like, Xaku is terrible against melee. Like, Xaku is really, really bad against melee. Because the thing is, yeah, you can use your passive to get 75% avoidance to guns, but that doesn't do anything to melee. So, these are 4. Oh, that guy just died. Well, basically, if you're against a high-level melee enemy, you just get, like, one shot as Xaku. That's really annoying, personally. So, that's my biggest problem with Xaku still. I'm okay with these changes. I'd say maybe a little bit more range on, the firing range on Grasp of Lohk would be cool. Or not, Grasp of Lohk, the guns would be cool. A new 1 would be great. I want them to remove the Void Laser, because I find cycling through these abilities extremely annoying. Like, okay, so Accuse is the mind control. Gaze is the armor removal, and then Deny is a laser. I find that a little bit annoying to keep track of, personally. If I could just rename the abilities in this game, I just call this one, like, mind control, call this one armor remove, and then call that one laser. But you can't rename them. They have to have, like, their specific artistic names, so that's my biggest problem, is that kind of stuff. Keeping track of what you're cycling through. So either way, guys, there's the information. Hope you found it helpful and the opinions relevant. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.